There's a special kind of irony in watching your wife pack for a spiritual retreat, while your toddler screams because his banana broke in half. She stood there in our bedroom, barefoot and bronzed, rolling silk dresses into neat little tubes and murmuring about Bali like it was some ancient, sacred rite of womanhood. "I just need to rethink things," she said. "My path, my energy, my direction." I raised an eyebrow. "You mean rethink them on a white sand beach with mojitos and shirtless yoga instructors?" She didn't flinch, just smiled, kissed me on the cheek, and told me I was strong enough to handle this chapter. I was, but that wasn't the compliment she thought it was. She flew out the next morning, before breakfast, before goodbyes to our boys, before I had even poured my first cup of coffee. I watched her Uber disappear down the driveway like she was escaping prison, not temporarily pausing a marriage. 2 car seats sat silent behind me. I blinked. Rethink her life? She had 2 lives clinging to her ankles. But apparently, they weren't enough. She left them with her father, like she was dropping off dry cleaning. "Just for a few weeks," she told him. "Just while I detox and find clarity." 2 weeks became 4. 4 became 8. She barely called. When she did, it was always on speaker, always from some villa echoing with laughter that didn't belong to me or her kids. She said she was doing deep healing work. Meanwhile, I was doing diaper duty and court paperwork. And let me tell you something. Nothing clears a man's mind like sitting across from a judge with pictures of your wife partying in Ubud while your toddlers are learning to say, "Where's mommy?" She didn't write. She didn't ask about birthdays. She didn't even know our youngest had started walking. And by the time she did, by the time she stepped back off that plane with tan lines and braided hair, the house was gone. Sold. The front lawn, the swing set, the tree where we carved our initials, all gone. The kids? They didn't recognize her. That was the welcome party. But this was just the beginning. She showed up in leggings and a linen top that probably cost more than my mortgage used to. Luggage in hand, like she was returning from a business trip, not a 2-month disappearance that looked suspiciously like a honeymoon without the hassle of a husband or kids. The Uber barely stopped before she was out, snapping selfies on the front step like she was expecting a welcome home banner. Instead, she got a for sale sign and a middle-aged woman watering roses who definitely wasn't me. She froze, then rang the doorbell. The new owner opened it with a practiced smile and a "Can I help you?" I watched the whole thing from across the street, parked in my truck, sipping black coffee and chewing on the irony like it owed me money. She turned, saw me, and her jaw dropped. "Logan," she stammered. "What is this? Where's our house?" I got out slowly, calm, controlled, not a flicker of rage. Just a man who had run out of patience and finally picked up the pen to rewrite his story. "It's not ours anymore," I said. "I sold it." "You what?" Without telling me. I nodded. "Correct. You weren't here to tell." Her voice cracked. "You can't just do that." I met her eyes, steady. "You abandoned your family for 2 months, Ashley. You didn't call. You didn't check in. And you left the kids with your dad like they were weekend errands. So yeah, I can." And I did. Her lips parted, but nothing came out. That's when the kicker dropped. I also filed for full custody. Emergency hearing. Neglect. Abandonment. Your dad testified. So did the nanny, the preschool teacher, and, fun twist, the guy from Bali who posted that photo of you topless on a boat with a caption that said her husband still doesn't know. The color drained from her face like someone had pulled the plug on her tan. "You're lying." I handed her the envelope. Certified copy of the judgment. She opened it like it was going to catch fire. Skimmed the bold print. "Custody awarded to Logan Barrett. Sole. Permanent." "I'm still their mother," she whispered, her voice tiny now. "Tell them that," I said, nodding toward the car. My boys sat in the back seat. I waved them over. They got out. Confused. "Boys," I said gently, "say hi." They looked at her, squinting in the sun like she was a substitute teacher who smelled weird. My oldest tilted his head. "Is she your friend, Daddy?" Ashley broke. And I didn't flinch. Not because it didn't hurt, but because it was time she learned something. You don't disappear from your own life and expect the credits to roll in your favor. You ever see a lie unravel in real time? It's not loud. It doesn't explode. It hisses, quiet, steady, like a tire slowly deflating under the weight of too many secrets. That's how I watched her, standing on the curb where our life used to be, clutching a custody ruling with trembling fingers, trying to piece together how it all slipped through hers. But she wasn't ready for what came next. Because the house, the kids, that was the polite part. The truth, that was the wrecking ball. Let's rewind a few months, back when rethinking her life started to smell like cheap cologne and lies. I didn't stumble on it. I hunted it down, not out of paranoia, but pattern recognition. She stopped saying, "I love you," like it meant something. Stopped touching the kids' drawings on the fridge. She'd scroll through her phone like it had a better version of life inside. I remember the night I finally looked. Her laptop was still open on the dining table. She'd left it there mid-packing, probably too distracted uploading Beach Playlist number 5. I opened it. No password. That was the last favor she ever did me. Inbox, empty. Trash, full. Photos, private folder labeled Bali plans. Cute. I clicked. First one was innocent. Sunset. Next, not so much. Her in a bikini that made Sports Illustrated look modest, riding on the shoulders of some tan, muscle-sculpted stranger with a man bun and mirrored sunglasses. He had a tattoo that looked like it said Wanderlust, but I'm pretty sure it actually said Homewrecker in Sanskrit. The third photo? Them kissing. Fourth? Them in bed. Not graphic, just obvious. Sheets. Champagne. Her wedding ring on the nightstand. And there it was. I clicked open her chat app. Found his name, Kai. Because of course it was Kai. Never trust a guy named Kai. If a man's named after a wave, he's probably surfing your marriage. Messages range from, "I've never felt this free," to "Logan still thinks I'm finding myself." Yeah, I found you all right. Then I saw the one that cemented it. She texted him, "I think I'm ready to never go back. The kids will adjust. My dad can take them for now. I just need out. Not I miss them. Not I'm torn. Just a quick little shrug at motherhood and a ticket to self-actualization through back muscles and hotel room service." And that's when the grief stopped and the clarity started. I printed everything. Dated. Sorted. Packaged it like an Amazon Prime delivery of betrayal. My lawyer nearly choked when he saw the evidence. "You won't just win custody," he said. "You'll win it blindfolded with your hands tied behind your back." So I filed. Quietly. Surgically. Like a man sharpening the blade while the traitor sleeps. And when she finally came home and found out the kids didn't know her, that the house was gone, she hadn't even hit the bottom yet. But trust me, we were getting there. That there's a moment after the truth explodes when silence fills the space like smoke. Thick. Suffocating. Nobody moves. Nobody breathes. They're just recalculating. That's where Ashley stood now. On the front lawn of a stranger's house that used to be hers, holding a legal document that might as well have said, "This is what consequences look like." She tried calling the boys over again. They stayed by the car. "Logan, this isn't fair," she whispered. "You blindsided me." I tilted my head, like a teacher giving a child one last chance to realize they just flunked. "So did you." Just in slow motion. "I needed space." "You bought a round-trip ticket to space and never turned around." Her eyes glistened, not with tears, but calculation. Ashley never cried unless it got her something. "Let's go somewhere and talk. Just us." "We are talking," I said, arms folded. "And you're standing in someone else's yard. So if you want to keep going, I suggest the sidewalk." She looked over her shoulder at the new homeowner, still holding a hose, frozen in that universal "I don't want to be involved but this is better than TV" stance. I walked over to the car. My youngest had a juice box. My oldest had a question. Why was that lady sad? She forgot who she was supposed to be, I said. I got the kids buckled, turned back, and found Ashley had followed me across the street. "You can't just erase me, Logan." I let out a slow breath. "I didn't. You erased yourself. I just stopped redrawing you." Her voice dropped to that rehearsed softness, the one she used to get upgrades on flights. "We were supposed to be a team." "No," I corrected. "You were the brand ambassador. I was the unpaid intern keeping the ship afloat while you networked in bed with strangers." That landed. She flinched. Then she did the thing I always dreaded during arguments. She brought up the kids. "You can't keep them from me. I'm their mother. And I'm the guy who fed them, bathed them, took them to preschool, read bedtime stories while you were sending Kai shirtless emojis." Her jaw tensed. "You think that makes you more of a parent?" "No," I said calmly. "It makes me a parent. You chose not to be." I pulled the envelope from my jacket. Another copy of the court order, notarized, laminated, and delivered with all the warmth of a corporate pink slip. "This isn't temporary," I said. "You didn't just abandon your marriage. You abandoned your role." That's what the judge saw. And that's what the kids feel. You want to rebuild that? Great. Start from the sidewalk. She opened her mouth, closed it. For the first time since Bali, Ashley looked like she realized this wasn't some dramatic phase she could yoga her way out of. This isn't forever, she muttered. No, I said. But it's what comes next. That night, the boys were asleep before dinner plates hit the sink. Peace had a new sound, quiet breathing through baby monitors, not passive-aggressive text at 2 a.m. from a time zone 12 hours ahead. I sat on the couch, legs stretched out, and pulled out the final folder. See, while Ashley was rediscovering herself through cocktails and coconut oil, I wasn't just handling diapers and court hearings. I was building something. Something better. Let me introduce you to Chapter 2. It started with the Bali receipts. Hotel bookings under her name. Private boat tours. A massage that listed romantic couples discount. She'd used our joint card for one, then quickly moved to a new card I didn't recognize. But you can't hide from a man with nothing but time and a reliable internet connection. I traced the bank statements. Then I traced Kai. Turns out, Kai wasn't just some wanderlust surfer with good hair and bad morals. He was married, with 2 kids. I printed everything. His wife's info. Their joint business. Even the Instagram account where Ashley appeared in 3 background photos before she got smart and cropped herself out. By the time she touched down on U.S. soil, I had enough ammo to turn her reputation into cautionary tale material. But I didn't go public. Not yet. Because revenge? Revenge is a dish best waited for. I called Kai's wife. Not to be cruel. To be informative. She wept. Then she asked for proof. I gave her everything. You want to know how cold the universe can get? She filed for divorce before Ashley even stepped off the return flight. A week after Ashley's meltdown in front of the old house, she showed up again. This time with a lawyer and a lot more mascara. Her attorney tried the usual script. My client is deeply remorseful. She was under mental strain, postpartum anxiety, cultural disassociation. She's seeking therapy. I passed a copy of the Bali bank statement across the table. Highlighted, sunset paddleboard yoga for lovers. Oh, I said. Was that before or after the postpartum panic attack? They quieted. I leaned forward. She doesn't want her reputation dragged through court again. So here's my counter. She walks. Clean break. Full parental surrender. She can petition for supervised visitation in a year. But no shared custody. No leverage. No loopholes. The lawyer started to protest. Ashley didn't. She just stared. Finally, she said it. I never thought you'd be the one to do this to me. I smiled. Neither did I. But then again, I never thought you'd leave your children to go find yourself in someone else's bed. She signed the papers. No tears. Just the soft scratch of ink on finality. And me? I walked out of that office a free man. Not just legally, but spiritually. You don't always get to stop the betrayal, but you do get to decide what comes after. And me? I chose silence. Strength. And when I got back home, I chose bedtime stories. Laughter. Clean floors. A fridge full of sticky notes that said, I love you, Daddy. Because Ashley might have gone to Bali to find herself. But I found everything she left behind. And I took it back. You ever feel the wind shift before the storm hits? That's how the morning started. The boys were building Lego towers on the living room rug, both shirtless and sticky from cereal milk and adventure. I was sipping black coffee, my new ritual now that emotional chaos had been replaced with quiet, consistent love. No screaming, no gaslighting, no passive-aggressive, well, if you really cared statements over reheated eggs. Just sunlight, cartoons, and the sound of blocks snapping together. Then the knock came. Not frantic. Not timid. Just deliberate. I knew that knock. It was the kind of knock people use when they think they're still part of your story. I opened the door. Ashley. Different this time. No makeup. Hair tied back. A scarf thrown around her neck like it could hide the guilt underneath. And beside her? Kai. Yeah, Kai. The homewrecker from Bali, standing on my porch like we were about to share a drink and laugh about how life is crazy, huh? I stepped outside, pulling the door closed behind me so the boys couldn't hear. You've got 30 seconds, I said. Ashley looked at Kai. He stepped forward like a man who spent too much time staring at himself in the mirror and started believing the reflection. Hey, man. Look, I just want to clear the air. I raised a hand. Don't call me man. Don't call me anything. You've got one shot to explain why you're standing on the porch of the guy you helped cuckold, and I suggest you don't start with pleasantries. Ashley cleared her throat. We just want to talk. That's all. You gave up the right to talk when you vanished for 2 months with Tarzan here. Kai frowned. That's not fair. You don't know what she was going through. Let me guess, I said. Emotional starvation. She felt unseen, unheard, unfulfilled, like a worn-out Pinterest quote screaming for a spiritual awakening. Ashley bit her lip. Logan, please. I stared at her, waiting for the part where this made sense. She reached into her purse and handed me a document. I unfolded it. My name. Hers. Custody revision request. You're appealing? I asked deadpan. After everything? Kai piped up. She's in therapy. She's doing the work. She wants to be part of her kids' lives again. I locked eyes with Ashley. You remember their names? Of course, she said. Middle names. A pause. Then a blush. Then silence. Yeah, I said. Didn't think so. She reached for my arm. I stepped back. Let me say something, she said, voice trembling now. When I left, I didn't know I was lost. I thought Bali would fix me, but it didn't. It just exposed the cracks. And when I realized what I'd done, it was too late. You mean when the house was sold and your name was off the mailbox? I said, that's what triggered the moral awakening. No, she said, when they didn't recognize me. That one, I'll admit, landed. Not because I felt sympathy, but because for once, it sounded like something true. She looked at the ground. I didn't come to fight. I came to ask. Just a chance. Supervised visits. Maybe a weekend every now and then. I just want them to know I'm still trying. Kai added, and I support that. She's changed. I stared at him. You're married. He blinked. I was. She filed for divorce because of you. His voice flattened. Yeah. And I lost my kids too. I nodded slowly. So now you're playing house with my ex, and the two of you want to co-parent the kids she left in emotional storage? Ashley's voice cracked. I don't want to replace what we had. I just want to be a part of what's next. I looked at them, two tanned, remorseful revolutionaries of self-discovery, standing on my porch like I was the villain in a movie they directed. I'll think about it, I said. Her eyes lit up. Then I added, but here's the deal. You don't come back here again uninvited. You don't call. You don't text. You file through the court, and if a judge says it's safe and healthy for the boys, then you get your shot. Not a second before. Ashley swallowed hard, nodded. Kai nodded too. Now leave, I said, and take your sandals. That night, after the boys went to bed, I stood in the hallway outside their rooms, watching their little chests rise and fall. These kids, they were the ones who paid the tax on Ashley's freedom. They cried when she stopped FaceTiming. They asked if mommy was lost. My oldest once asked if women get kidnapped by sunshine. And now she wanted back in, like she'd just left a book club, not a family. I walked downstairs, poured myself a glass of whiskey, and opened the court paperwork again. The therapist's letter was stapled to the back. Client expresses deep regret. Shows active engagement in recovery. Understands damage caused. Seeks structured reconnection with children. I sighed. Therapists always make disaster sound like a growth opportunity. I wasn't angry anymore. Not really. I was just tired of pretending these people earned forgiveness without paying the toll. 2 weeks later, I told the court I'd allow one visit. One. At a neutral location. Child services present. Kai not included. It happened. It was quiet. The boys didn't hug her. They didn't scream. They just sat there, wary, polite. Like they were meeting a teacher who used to teach them, but forgot their names. Afterward, she emailed me a thank you. I didn't reply, because sometimes the cruelest revenge isn't fire or fury. It's indifference. The kind that says, you don't matter anymore. You're not the storm. You're just the weather that passed through. Revenge isn't always a dramatic curtain drop. Sometimes it's paperwork. Clinical. Cold. Signed in triplicate. After the supervised visit, Ashley emailed again. Then called. Then messaged through her lawyer. A week later, another request landed. Extended visits, weekend sleepovers, more natural integration. Her lawyer's words, not mine. I declined. Politely. Firmly. Through my lawyer. But this time, I added something. A printout of the private messages between her and Kai. The ones she never knew I had. The ones where she called the kids emotional baggage and said, we'll figure out how to blend them in once Logan cools down. I stapled that to my response. I never heard back. You see, I never had to scream or rage to get my point across. I just kept receipts. And sometimes, the worst thing you can do to someone like Ashley is show them exactly who they are in writing. With the house sold and the ashes of my former life neatly boxed and burned, I started over. New place. Smaller. Cozy. Warm light. Quiet walls. I painted it myself. Something about rolling fresh color over blank drywall felt symbolic. The kids helped. My youngest painted a streak of blue across the dog's back. The dog didn't mind. I didn't rebuild life all at once. Just one frame at a time. One habit. One rule. Rule number 1. No ghosts. No photos of Ashley. No remnants of a life that was never really ours. Rule number 2. Truth only. I told the kids, gently, that mommy needed time to figure herself out. That sometimes people leave, but it doesn't mean we stop living. Rule number 3. Laughter stays. Because even in a house built from heartbreak, joy still fits. Months passed. We found rhythm. School drop-offs. Pancake Saturdays. Couch forts that made the whole living room look like a construction site. Then one day, a letter came. No return address. Just my name in handwriting I hadn't seen in months. Ashley. Inside was a simple note. I see it now. I traded my soul for silence. You were the only thing real. I'm sorry. I'll never ask again. There was no signature. Just those words. And a Polaroid. Her with the boys, back when they were toddlers. Smiling. Whole. I didn't cry. I didn't crumble. I slid the photo into a drawer and closed it. Not out of anger. But because some chapters aren't meant to be reread. You'd think that'd be the end of it. But people like Ashley don't disappear quietly. Not forever. A year later, she tried one last time. Not through courts. Not through lawyers. She showed up at the boys' school. Unannounced. The teacher called me frantic. There's a woman here claiming to be their mother. I was there in 10 minutes flat. Ashley stood in the hallway, all faux calm and breezy. Like she had every right to be there. I didn't raise my voice. I just asked her one question. Did you clear this with the school? She hesitated. That was all I needed. I turned to the principal. This woman is not authorized. There's a restraining clause in place. Please call the authorities. Ashley's face dropped. Logan, please. You walked out. You don't get to wander back in through the side door. Police came. Escorted her out. No cuffs. Just shame. And that? That was the last time I saw her. It's been 3 years. The boys are thriving. The older one plays soccer. The younger one draws superheroes and tells me every day that I'm his real-life Batman. The house is loud again, but the good kind. Bursting with burnt toast, laughter, scraped knees, and bedtime stories. I met someone, eventually. No rush. No grand declarations. Just a woman who didn't flinch when I told her the story. A woman who let me love at my own pace. And the best part? The kids adore her. She never tried to replace their mother. She just showed up, day after day, like love should. As for Ashley, she moved away. Last I heard, Kai left her too. Some people never stop wondering. But me? I'm rooted now. Solid. Because when you survive betrayal, you don't rebuild the same castle. You build a fortress. One brick at a time. From the ashes of heartbreak. With your own damn hands. And this time, the door only opens for those who know how to stay.